You're in my way, and honestly, people like you should know your place by now. Those words cut through the first-class cabin like a knife. A tall, confident young black woman stood blocking the aisle, her posture relaxed but her eyes blazing with something dangerous. Across from her, a blonde woman with a sneer that could curdle milk waited for her to step aside. But she wasn't moving. Not an inch. People like me? The black woman's voice was calm, almost conversational, but there was steel underneath. Say what you mean, Madison. In the window seat behind her sat a younger girl, 16 years old, tears streaming down her face, trembling like a leaf in a storm. Her hood was pulled up, trying to make herself invisible, but it was too late. She'd been seen. She'd been targeted. Madison's smirk widened. I mean people who don't belong in first class. Now move before I call the flight attendant. The older woman didn't budge. Call them. I'd love to hear you explain why you're harassing a minor. Passengers were watching now, some recording on their phones, others pretending to look away while stealing glances. The tension in that cabin was thick enough to choke on. Something was about to explode, and everyone could feel it. But to understand how we got here, to understand why this moment mattered so much, we need to go back. 6 hours earlier. To a penthouse in New York City. To a woman who had built an empire but was about to discover she'd almost lost something far more valuable. Her name was Zara Baptiste. 24 years old. Founder and CEO of Baptiste Beauty, a cosmetics empire worth $1.2 billion. Yes, you heard that right. Billion. With a B. Zara had built her company from her college dorm room when she was just 19 years old. She'd noticed something the beauty industry had been ignoring for decades. Women with deep skin tones were being left out. The foundation shades stopped at medium tan. The makeup tutorials showed the same faces over and over. So Zara created what didn't exist. Inclusive makeup for every shade, every tone, every beautiful variation of black and brown skin. She went viral overnight. Not because of some algorithm or paid promotion, but because she'd solved a problem millions of women had been screaming about for years. Her first product run sold out in 48 hours. Within 2 years, she was in every major retailer. Within 4, she was turning down acquisition offers from companies worth 10 times what hers was. By 24, Zara Baptiste was a global phenomenon. Her face was on magazine covers. Her name was on buildings. She'd made the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, the Fortune Most Powerful Women list, every list that mattered. But success has a price. And Zara had been paying it in ways she didn't even realize. She hadn't been home in 2 years. Not really home. Sure, she'd flown her parents to New York for holidays, put them up in 5-star hotels, sent them first-class tickets to her product launches. But she hadn't sat in their living room, hadn't eaten her mom's cooking at the kitchen table, hadn't been present in the way that actually mattered. She'd been too busy. Always too busy. Back-to-back meetings with investors. Product launches in 3 countries simultaneously. International press tours. Expansion into European markets. Hiring. Firing. Scaling. Growing. Winning. That particular Tuesday morning, Zara was in her New York penthouse, 47 floors above Manhattan, exhausted from another 18-hour day. Her calendar was already mocking her. Investor meeting at 9, product development at 11, marketing strategy at 2, dinner with potential partners at 7. Her phone rang. For the 5th time that week. Zara's finger hovered over the decline button. She'd call her back later. She always called back later. Except later kept turning into tomorrow, and tomorrow kept turning into next week, and next week kept turning into I'm sorry, Mom, things are just crazy right now. But something made her answer. Maybe intuition. Maybe guilt. Maybe the universe deciding it was time. Zara, baby, I know you're busy. Her mother Grace's voice was careful, like she was trying not to ask for too much. But it's Lily. Something's wrong. She won't talk to me, won't eat, barely leaves her room. Lily. Her baby sister. The girl who used to follow Zara around like a shadow, who would sit on the bathroom counter for hours watching Zara do her makeup, who looked at Zara like she'd hung the moon and painted the stars. Zara's heart dropped into her stomach. What happened? I don't know. Grace's voice cracked. But she needs her big sister. Can you come home? Just for a few days? Zara looked at her calendar. Those meetings weren't just important, they were critical. The investor meeting could secure funding for her African expansion. The product launch was for her most ambitious line yet. Everything was riding on the next 72 hours. But then she remembered something. A memory so vivid it felt like yesterday instead of 10 years ago. Zara at 14, sitting on Lily's bed, carefully applying eyeshadow for Lily's first school dance. Lily was only 6 then, too young for makeup, but she'd begged. And Zara had said yes, had spent an hour making her baby sister feel beautiful, had promised her something that night. I'll always protect you, Lil. No matter what. No matter where I am or what I'm doing. You call I come, boys. Zara looked at her calendar again. At all those meetings, all those people waiting for her, all those opportunities that seemed so important 5 seconds ago. I'll be on the next flight. 12 hours later, Zara was standing on the front porch of her childhood home in Atlanta. A modest house in a working-class neighborhood, the kind of place where people knew their neighbors and looked out for each other. The house hadn't changed. Same faded blue paint. Same creaky third step. Same wind chime her father had hung 20 years ago that still sang in the Georgia breeze. But Zara had changed. She'd left this house at 18 with big dreams and a partial scholarship. She was coming back as someone else entirely. Someone successful. Someone powerful. Someone who'd almost forgotten what really mattered. Grace and Thomas were waiting at the door. Her mother looked older, more tired than Zara remembered. Her father's hair had gone completely gray. When had that happened? Had it been gradual, or had Zara just not been paying attention? They hugged her tight, but there was worry in their eyes. The kind of worry that comes from watching your child suffer and not knowing how to fix it. She's upstairs, Thomas said quietly. Hasn't come down since yesterday. Zara climbed those familiar stairs, each step bringing back 1,000 memories. She and Lily racing up them. Sitting on them doing homework. Sneaking down them on Christmas morning. These stairs had been the backdrop of their childhood, and now they were leading Zara toward a truth she wasn't prepared for. She knocked on Lily's door. So, gentle. I'm not hungry. Lily's voice was small, hollow, like something essential had been scooped out of her. Good thing I'm not bringing food. Silence. Then the sound of movement. The door opened slowly, just a crack, and Lily's face appeared. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying, surrounded by dark circles that spoke of sleepless nights. Her hair was uncombed. She was wearing the same clothes she'd probably been wearing for days. But the worst part, the part that made Zara's heart actually hurt, was the look in Lily's eyes. It was emptiness. Like the light that had always burned so bright in her baby sister had been snuffed out. The moment Lily saw Zara, really saw her, something broke. She fell into Zara's arms and sobbed. Not gentle tears, but the kind of crying that comes from somewhere deep and dark, the kind that sounds like it's being ripped out of your chest. Zara held her. Didn't say anything. Didn't try to fix it yet. Just held her baby sister and let her break apart because sometimes that's what you need to do before you can start putting the pieces back together. After what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, the sobs slowed. Lily pulled back, wiped her face with her sleeve, couldn't quite meet Zara's eyes. And then she started talking. The story came out in pieces. Fragments. But each piece was a knife. Lily was a scholarship student at Ashford Academy, one of the most prestigious private schools in Atlanta. The kind of place where tuition cost more than most people's annual salary, where the parking lot looked like a luxury car dealership, where legacy admissions meant your great-great-grandfather's name was on a building. Lily had earned her spot. Perfect grades. Perfect test scores. Perfect essay. She'd beaten out hundreds of applicants for one of only 5 full scholarships the school offered each year. At first, it had been a dream come true. The resources, the opportunities, the doors that would open with Ashford Academy on her transcript. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares when you're not careful. The bullying had started small. Comments about her clothes. "Oh, is that from Target?" said with a smile that didn't reach the eyes. Discussions about summer homes in the Hamptons that would suddenly stop when Lily walked up. Invitations to parties she never received. But small things have a way of growing. Especially when there's someone feeding them. Madison Rothschild, daughter of real estate mogul Richard Rothschild, whose family name was on half the buildings in downtown Atlanta. Madison was everything Lily wasn't. Wealthy, popular, cruel in the casual way that only the truly privileged can be. She decided, for reasons known only to her, that Lily didn't belong. And once Madison decided something, the rest of the school followed. The comments got louder. The exclusion got more obvious. Madison would mock Lily's hair, her neighborhood, the fact that she brought lunch from home instead of buying from the expensive cafeteria. She'd spread rumors, turn people against her, make sure Lily understood her place in the social hierarchy. For 2 years, Lily had endured it, kept her head down, focused on her grades, told herself it didn't matter because education was what counted, not popularity. She'd convinced herself she was strong enough to handle it. But last week, something had broken. Madison had cornered Lily in the bathroom with 3 of her friends. They'd surrounded her, phones out, recording. Madison had said things, terrible things about Lily's family, her scholarship, her worth as a person. And Lily, exhausted from 2 years of relentless cruelty, had started crying. They'd filmed the whole thing. Every tear. Every moment of humiliation. And then Madison had posted it on social media with a caption that made Zara's blood boil. Charity cases crying again. The video had gone viral. At school at least. Within hours, everyone had seen it. By the next day, Lily was a joke. People she'd never spoken to were commenting, sharing, adding their own mockery. The scholarship student who couldn't handle the pressure. The girl who didn't belong. The charity case. Lily had stopped going to school 3 days ago. Stopped eating. Stopped sleeping. She just locked herself in her room and tried to disappear. I can't go back there, Liza. Lily's voice was barely a whisper. I can't face them. I just want to disappear. If you've ever felt this way, if you've ever been made to feel like you don't belong, drop a comment below. You're not alone. And neither is Lily. Zara's jaw tightened. Every protective instinct she'd ever had was screaming. This was her baby sister. The girl she'd promised to protect. And while Zara had been building her empire, conquering markets, appearing on magazine covers, Lily had been suffering. Alone. But when Zara spoke, her voice was gentle. You're not disappearing. And you're not facing them alone. She made a decision right there, sitting on Lily's bed in their childhood home. The meetings could wait. The investors could wait. The whole damn empire could wait. Pack a bag. We're going to LA for a week. Just you and me. Like old times. Lily looked up, confused. What about school? Zara smiled, and there was something fierce in it. Let me worry about that. What Zara didn't tell her baby sister, what Lily didn't know yet, was that Madison Rothschild had just made the biggest mistake of her life. Because she hadn't just bullied some random scholarship student. She'd targeted the little sister of one of the most powerful young women in America. And Zara Baptiste protected what was hers. If you want to see what happens when this billionaire CEO confronts her sister's bully at 30,000 feet, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what's about to happen on that plane is going to change everything. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. The next morning, Zara and Lily headed to the airport. Lily was quiet, withdrawn, but there was something new in her eyes. Not hope exactly, but maybe the possibility of hope. The knowledge that she wasn't alone anymore. They were going to Los Angeles. A week of sunshine, beaches, and sister time. A chance for Lily to remember who she was before Madison Rothschild tried to destroy her. But fate, as it turns out, had other plans. Because in just a few hours, Madison Rothschild was going to board the exact same flight. She was going to see Lily sitting in first class. And she was going to make the same mistake she'd been making for 2 years. She was going to underestimate who she was dealing with. And this time, there would be consequences. The airport was buzzing with the usual chaos. Announcements echoing through the terminal, travelers rushing to their gates, the smell of overpriced coffee mixing with jet fuel and stress. Zara and Lily made their way through the crowds toward the first-class check-in counter, 2 sisters about to board a flight that would change everything. Zara had dressed down deliberately. Oversized hoodie, sunglasses pushed up on her head, minimal makeup. She was trying to blend in, to just be a normal person taking her sister on a normal trip. But when you're worth over $1 billion and your face has been on the cover of Vogue, Forbes, and Time magazine, blending in isn't really an option. They were halfway to the counter when it started. Oh my God. A young woman, maybe 22, froze mid-step, her carry-on nearly sliding off her shoulder. "You're Zara Baptiste." Zara smiled, that practiced smile she'd perfected over the years. Warm but not too encouraging. Friendly but with boundaries. "Can I get a picture? Please? I love Baptiste beauty so much. Your foundation literally changed my life." And here's the thing about Zara Baptiste that made her different from a lot of people in her position. She said just every time. Because she remembered being that girl, the one who felt invisible, who couldn't find makeup that matched her skin, who walked into stores and got followed by security instead of salespeople. Of course. Within seconds, 3 more people had materialized. Then 5. Then 10. All wanting photos, wanting to touch her, wanting a piece of her light to take home with them. Zara obliged each one, posing for selfies, signing napkins and boarding passes, listening to their stories about how her products had made them feel seen. Lily stood off to the side, watching. There was pride in her eyes, genuine pride at seeing her sister so loved, so celebrated. But there was something else too. A smallness. Like she was shrinking into herself, becoming invisible next to Zara's supernova. After the 10th photo, Zara politely excused herself, took Lily's hand, and headed toward the gate. "Does this happen everywhere you go?" Lily asked quietly. Zara glanced at her sister, heard something in her voice she couldn't quite name. "Pretty much. It's weird, but you get used to it. Except you never really get used to it. You just get better at pretending." They checked in, the gate agent's eyes going wide with recognition, offering upgrades they didn't need, perks they hadn't asked for. Special treatment that came automatically now, like breathing. Zara accepted it gracefully, thanked the woman, and guided Lily down the jet bridge. First class on this particular aircraft was intimate. Only 8 seats, configured in pairs, with enough space between them that you could almost forget other people existed. Seats 1A and 1B, right up front. Zara took the aisle, letting Lily have the window. The flight attendant appeared almost immediately. James, according to his name tag, mid-30s with perfectly styled hair and a smile that reached his eyes. Those eyes lit up the moment he saw Zara. "Ms. Baptiste, welcome aboard. Can I get you some champagne? We have a lovely vintage today." Zara shook her head politely. "Just sparkling water, please. For both of us." James nodded, retreated, returned moments later with 2 crystal glasses of sparkling water with lime, served on a small silver tray like they were royalty. Which, in this cabin, they essentially were. Lily settled into her seat, and for the first time in days, Zara saw something resembling peace cross her sister's face. Lily explored the seat controls, the entertainment system, the amenity kit with its tiny luxuries. She pulled out the menu, eyes widening at the meal options, things she'd only seen in movies. And then, for just a moment, Lily smiled. A real smile. Small but real. Zara's heart lifted. This was working. This trip was the right call. A week in just the 2 of them, and Lily would remember who she was. They'd go to the beach, eat good food, laugh until their stomachs hurt. They'd rebuild what had been broken. But the universe, it seems, had a different lesson in mind. The energy in the cabin shifted before Zara even heard the voice. It was like a cold front moving in, that pressure change you feel right before a storm. Lily felt it too. Her smile vanished. Her body went rigid. Then came the voice. Loud, entitled, grating in that particular way that only comes from never being told no. "This is ridiculous. I can't believe we have to fly commercial. Do you know how many germs are on these planes?" Madison Rothschild swept into first class like she owned it, her mother Christine following behind with the exhausted patience of someone who'd been dealing with this behavior for 23 years. Behind them came Blake, Madison's younger brother, 18 and already looking like he regretted being related to her. They were seated in 2A, 2B, and 2C, directly behind Zara and Lily. So close you could hear every word, every sigh, every performance of privilege. Madison was exactly what you'd picture when you heard the phrase, wealthy bully. Blonde hair styled in that effortless way that actually takes hours and costs hundreds. Designer clothes with logos strategically visible. Manicured nails that had never known actual work. And that face, pretty in a conventional way, but twisted by the kind of entitlement that made beauty irrelevant. She was still complaining as she settled into her seat. Our jet is being serviced. Serviced? As if we're common people who can't afford to wait. Madison, lower your voice. You're making a scene. Christine's voice was tired, like she'd said these words 10,000 times and knew they wouldn't work this time either. Whatever. This is so beneath us. Lily heard that voice and froze. Completely froze. Like every muscle in her body had locked simultaneously, like she'd been hit with a paralysis spell in some video game. Her breathing changed, became shallow and quick. Her hands started shaking. Zara noticed immediately. What's wrong? Lily couldn't speak for a moment. When she finally did, her voice came out as barely a whisper, panic threading through every syllable. That's her. That's Madison. Zara turned slightly, just enough to catch a glimpse of the blonde woman behind them. Madison was scrolling through her phone, laughing at something, showing Blake the screen. She hadn't noticed Lily yet. Hadn't seen her target sitting right in front of her. Zara's protective instincts, already on high alert, went into overdrive. Every cell in her body was suddenly focused on one thing: keeping her sister safe. It's okay. Zara's voice was low, calm, certain. She's not going to bother you. I'm right here. But Lily was already shrinking into her seat, pulling her hood up, trying to become invisible. That survival instinct that kicks in when you've been hunted before and you hear the hunter nearby. Hide. Disappear. Don't be seen. The plane began its taxi to the runway. The flight attendants went through their safety demonstration. The engines roared to life. And for 30 blissful minutes after takeoff, nothing happened. Madison remained oblivious, buried in her phone, arguing with her mother about something trivial. Lily stayed frozen, barely breathing, watching the in-flight entertainment without seeing it. Zara kept one hand on her sister's arm, a silent promise. I'm here. You're safe. But safety is a fragile thing. Especially at 30,000 feet with nowhere to run. 30 minutes into the flight, Lily needed to use the bathroom. She'd been holding it, not wanting to move, not wanting to be seen. But biology doesn't care about fear. She unbuckled her seatbelt slowly, like any sudden movement might trigger a trap. Kept her head down, hood up. Moved quickly down the aisle toward the first-class lavatory. Madison was scrolling through Instagram, half listening to Blake talk about some party, when movement caught her eye. She looked up, probably just by reflex, probably not even meaning to pay attention. And then she saw her. Recognition flashed across Madison's face. Her eyes widened, then narrowed, and something absolutely vicious crawled into her expression. It was the look of a predator spotting prey. The look of someone who'd found a new toy to break. Lily came out of the bathroom, still keeping her head down, moving quickly back to her seat. She was almost there. Almost safe. Oh my God. Madison's voice cut through the cabin like a knife. But deliberately loud. Lily? Lily froze mid-step. That deer-in-headlights moment when every instinct is screaming run but your body won't cooperate. What are you doing in first class? Madison's voice was dripping with false sweetness, the kind that's actually more cruel than outright meanness. Did you steal someone's ticket? The cabin went quiet. Not completely silent, but that particular kind of quiet where everyone's suddenly very interested in what's happening while pretending they're not. Lily's face burned with shame. She couldn't move. Couldn't speak. Just stood there in the aisle, exposed. Madison, that's enough. Christine's voice carried warning, but it was weak, ineffectual. The kind of parenting that had clearly never worked before. Madison ignored her mother completely. No, seriously, I'm confused. Last I checked, your family couldn't afford lunch at Panera, let alone first-class tickets. Blake laughed, that uncomfortable laugh that comes from not knowing what else to do. Madison, chill. But Madison was on a roll now, feeding off the attention, the discomfort, the power she felt watching Lily squirm. I'm just asking a question. Hey everyone, this is the girl from my school who pretends she belongs. It's actually kind of sad. Passengers were looking now. Some uncomfortable, averting their eyes. Others curious, leaning in, a few even holding up phones. The modern Roman Colosseum, except instead of lions, we have social media and public humiliation. Lily's eyes filled with tears. That horrible burning sensation when you're trying desperately not to cry but your body's betraying you anyway. She was paralyzed in that aisle, unable to move forward or backward, trapped. Madison stood up, blocking Lily's path back to her seat. She was taller than Lily, used her height to loom, to intimidate. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Or are you about to cry again like in that video? And that's when something in the cabin shifted. The air itself seemed to change, to thicken with electricity and danger. Zara Baptiste stood up. She moved with the kind of calm that's actually more frightening than rage. Smooth, controlled, deliberate. She stepped into the aisle, placed herself between Madison and Lily, and suddenly Madison's advantage evaporated. Because Zara was taller. Zara carried herself with a confidence that came from building empires and conquering markets. Zara had presence, the kind that makes people instinctively step back without knowing why. And most importantly, Zara was done watching her sister suffer. The passengers who'd been watching before were really watching now. This wasn't just entertainment anymore. This was about to become something else entirely. You could feel it, that electricity in the air right before lightning strikes. Madison looked at Zara, trying to maintain her smirk, her superiority. But something flickered in her eyes. Uncertainty. The first crack in her armor. Because Madison Rothschild had just made a critical error in judgment. She'd assumed, like she always did, that she was the most powerful person in the room. That her family name, her family money, her social status made her untouchable. She had no idea who she was actually dealing with. She had no idea that the woman standing in front of her wasn't just Lily's sister. She was one of the most powerful young entrepreneurs in America. She was someone who'd built a billion-dollar empire from nothing. She was someone who'd faced down investors, competitors, and critics and come out victorious every single time. And most importantly, she was someone who'd just watched a bully humiliate her baby sister for the last time. Have you ever stood up to a bully? Have you ever been in that moment where you have to decide between staying silent or speaking up? Drop a comment and let me know, because what's about to happen in this cabin is going to be intense. The confrontation that was about to unfold would change everything. For Lily. For Madison. For everyone watching. Because Zara Baptiste was about to teach Madison Rothschild a lesson that her parents, her school, and her entire privileged life had failed to teach her. Actions have consequences. And the consequences were about to be devastating. If you want to see this billionaire CEO absolutely destroy her sister's bully at 30,000 feet, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Because what happens next is going to be the most satisfying moment you've seen all year. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single second of this. Zara stood there in that aisle, blocking Madison's path, her sister protected behind her. Madison's smirk was starting to fade, replaced by something else. Confusion. Maybe the first whisper of fear. Because the hunter had just realized she might have cornered something far more dangerous than prey. And there was nowhere to run. In the hushed tension of the first-class cabin, Zara rises from her seat. Every movement is deliberate, controlled. She steps into the aisle, positioning herself directly between Madison and her trembling sister. The air feels electric, charged with the promise of something about to break. Step back. Zara's voice cuts through the silence, calm, but carrying an authority that makes several passengers straighten in their seats. Madison looks her up and down, that same dismissive sneer still plastered across her face. And who are you? Her bodyguard. Her sister. The words land like a challenge. Madison actually laughs. A sharp, cruel sound that echoes in the confined space. Oh, this is rich. Another charity case. Move. But Zara doesn't move. Not even an inch. She stands there like a wall, immovable, her presence suddenly filling the entire aisle. You're going to sit down, stop harassing my sister, and keep your mouth shut for the rest of this flight. Madison's eyebrows shoot up, her confidence wavering for just a fraction of a second before returning full force. Or what? You'll cry to the flight attendant? People like you always play victim. From behind her daughter, Christine's voice rings out, tinged with embarrassment. Madison, sit down. Now. Mom, stay out of this. Zara tilts her head slightly, her eyes never leaving Madison's face. People like me? Say what you mean to Madison. And here's where Madison makes her fatal mistake. Emboldened by years of getting away with cruelty, drunk on her own sense of superiority, she takes the bait. Fine. People who don't belong in first class. People who probably saved for years just to afford these tickets. It's embarrassing, honestly. The cabin has gone completely silent now. Even the hum of the engines seems to fade into the background. Passengers in nearby rows have stopped pretending not to listen. This is no longer a private confrontation, it's a public reckoning. Zara's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in her posture. A slight relaxation, like a predator that's finally cornered its prey. You're right. I did save. When I was 19, I saved every penny from my part-time job to launch my business. Now I own 3 planes. But I chose to fly commercial today because I wanted to spend time with my sister without distractions. You can see it, the exact moment Madison's smirk begins to falter. Just slightly. Just enough to notice. Zara continues, her voice still calm but now carrying an edge sharp enough to cut. You, on the other hand, are sitting in a seat your father's money bought, acting like you earned the right to look down on people. You haven't earned anything in your life. It's brutal. It's honest. And it hits exactly where it was meant to. Madison recovers quickly, though years of privilege have taught her how to deflect. Big talk from someone I've never heard of. And this is the moment everything changes. Zara reaches up, pulling down her hood. She removes her sunglasses with slow, deliberate movements. Her face, previously hidden, is now fully visible under the cabin lights. The reaction is immediate. A passenger 3 rows back gasps audibly. That's Zara Baptiste. Madison's face goes from smug to confused to pale in the span of 3 seconds. Another passenger leans forward, phone already halfway out of their pocket. Wait, the Zara Baptiste? From Baptiste Beauty? The recognition ripples through the cabin like wildfire. Suddenly, the dynamic has shifted completely. This isn't just some random woman defending her sister. This is one of the most successful young entrepreneurs in the country, standing in a commercial airline aisle, confronting a spoiled teenager. James, the flight attendant, appears as if summoned by the collective tension. Is everything all right here? Madison, desperate to regain control of the narrative, jumps in first. She's blocking the aisle and threatening me. Zara doesn't even look at James. Her eyes remain locked on Madison as she speaks. I'm protecting my minor sister from harassment. This woman has been bullying her for years, including posting humiliating videos online. She just continued that harassment on this flight. James turns to Madison, his professional demeanor now edged with concern. Ma'am, is this true? She's exaggerating. It's just jokes between classmates. And then Lily speaks. For the first time since this confrontation began, her voice cuts through the tension. Small but steady. Broken but brave. You made me want to die. The words don't just hang in the air, they detonate. You can feel the collective intake of breath from every passenger within earshot. Christine's hand flies to her mouth, her face crumbling. What? Lily is crying now, tears streaming down her face, but her voice doesn't waver. You made me hate myself. Every day at school is torture because of you. I didn't want to wake up anymore. The silence that follows is suffocating. This isn't entertainment anymore. This isn't drama. This is a 16-year-old girl confessing that she contemplated ending her life because of relentless bullying. And every single person in that cabin knows they're witnessing something profoundly real. Madison, for the first time, looks genuinely uncomfortable. The mask of confidence cracks. I didn't mean. Zara's voice cuts through like ice. You didn't mean what? To destroy a 16-year-old girl's life? To make her feel worthless? You meant every word, every video, every cruel laugh. Christine stands up now, her face a mixture of horror and shame. Madison, did you bully this child? Mom, she's being dramatic. Answer me. The sharpness in Christine's voice makes several passengers flinch. This is a mother realizing in real time that her daughter is not who she thought she was. Madison, cornered, falls back on the oldest defense in the Bullies playbook. Everyone jokes around at school. She's just too sensitive. Zara pulls out her phone. James, I'd like to show you something. Before you hit that subscribe button, let me ask you this. Have you ever witnessed someone get exactly what they deserved? Drop a comment below and tell me about it. Now back to the story. On Zara's phone screen is the video. The viral video Madison posted of Lily crying in the bathroom, mascara running down her face, other girls laughing in the background. James watches, and with each passing second his expression hardens. When the video ends, he looks up at Madison. Ma'am, this is harassment. We have a zero-tolerance policy for passenger harassment. I'm going to have to ask you to change seats. Madison's jaw drops. Are you serious? Do you know who my family is? James doesn't blink. I don't care if you're royalty. Change seats or we'll land this plane and have you removed. Christine, her voice now heavy with shame, speaks up. Madison, get your things. You're sitting in the back. Mom. Now. Blake, who has been sitting silently beside his sister this entire time, quietly stands up. His face is flushed with embarrassment, his eyes cast downward. Even he can't defend her anymore. As Madison gathers her things with shaking hands, her world collapsing around her, she leans toward Lily one last time. Her voice is a venomous hiss, barely audible. You're going to regret this. But Zara is right there. She leans in close, her voice low enough that only Madison can hear. No, you are. Because I'm not just Lily's sister. I'm also on the board of trustees at your school. Funny how those donation meetings work. Madison's face goes from red to white in an instant. The color drains so fast you'd think someone pulled a plug. Zara straightens up, her voice still quiet but carrying the weight of absolute certainty. See you at the next board meeting. We'll be discussing scholarship protections and anti-bullying policies. Madison stumbles toward the back of the plane, her designer bag clutched to her chest, her head down. Every passenger she passes watches her walk of shame. Some with satisfaction. Some with pity. But all of them watching. Zara guides Lily back to their seats. Her sister is still shaking, tears still wet on her cheeks. But there's something different in her eyes now. Something that wasn't there before. Relief. Validation. The knowledge that someone finally stood up for her. That someone finally saw her pain and said, no more. As they settle back into their seats, Lily whispers, barely audible, thank you. Zara takes her hand and squeezes it gently. No words needed. Sometimes justice doesn't come from a courtroom or a principal's office. Sometimes it comes at 30,000 feet, in the first-class cabin of a commercial flight, when someone finally says enough is enough. And everyone watching knows, they just witnessed a bully finally face consequences. Not just embarrassment. Not just a slap on the wrist. Real, life-altering consequences. If you loved seeing Zara stand up for her sister, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because the story is far from over. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Back in their seats, with the cabin settling into an uneasy calm, Zara holds Lily's hand. Her sister's fingers are still trembling, cold despite the warm air circulating through the plane. The adrenaline is wearing off now, leaving behind the raw emotional aftermath of what just happened. Lily's voice is small, almost childlike. You're on the board of trustees? Zara nods, squeezing her hand gently. As of 3 months ago, I made a large donation. I wanted to give back to schools that support kids like us. I had no idea you were dealing with this. And here's the heartbreaking part. Lily's eyes fill with fresh tears, but these are different. These aren't tears of fear or humiliation. These are tears of guilt. I didn't want to bother you. You're so busy, so successful. My problems seemed small. You can see it physically hit Zara. Like someone punched her in the chest. Her composure, which held so perfectly during the confrontation with Madison, finally cracks. Lily, nothing about you is small to me. Nothing. I'm sorry I made you feel like you couldn't come to me. You've accomplished so much, Lily continues, her voice breaking. I didn't want to be the little sister who couldn't handle high school. Zara is quiet for a moment, processing this. Processing the weight of unintended distance that success can create. Then she leans closer, her voice soft but urgent. You want to know a secret? When I was 15, I got bullied too. There was this girl, Tiffany, who made fun of my clothes, my hair, said I'd never amount to anything. Lily's eyes widen. Really? Really? I cried myself to sleep for months. But you know what I learned? Bullies are miserable people who need to make others small to feel big. Madison's life is empty. Yours is just beginning. There's something powerful about this moment. About successful, composed, powerful Zara Baptiste admitting vulnerability. Admitting that she, too, once felt small. Once felt worthless. Once cried alone in the dark. But Lily's fear isn't gone. You can see it lingering in her eyes, in the way her jaw tightens. What if she doesn't stop? What if it gets worse when we go back? Zara's response is immediate, fierce. Then we fight. Together. But here's what I want you to understand. You are brilliant, kind, and stronger than you know. Madison can't take that from you. Before Lily can respond, James appears beside their row, carrying warm towels and a selection of snacks. His smile is genuine, warm. Compliments of the captain. He heard what happened and wants you both to be comfortable. Zara thanks him, her professional persona sliding back into place for just a moment. As James walks away, Lily stares at the thoughtful gesture, something like wonder crossing her face. People are being so nice. That's because most people are good, Zara tells her, unwrapping one of the warm towels and handing it to her sister. Madison's the exception, not the rule. It's such a simple statement, but it carries profound weight. For someone like Lily, who's spent months or even years surrounded by cruelty, who's had her entire school experience colored by relentless bullying, the idea that Madison is the outlier, not the norm, is revolutionary. It's a perspective shift that could change everything. They sit in comfortable silence for a while, the hum of the engines a soothing backdrop. Lily rests her head on Zara's shoulder. For the first time in what feels like forever, she looks almost peaceful. But the story isn't over yet. An hour into the flight, movement catches Zara's attention. Christine is approaching their seats, and everything about her body language has changed. The polished, poised socialite from earlier is gone. In her place is a woman who looks genuinely distressed, her makeup slightly smudged, her hands fidgeting with her designer handbag. Excuse me. I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm Madison's mother. Zara's entire posture shifts. Protective. Guarded. I know who you are. Christine flinches slightly at the coldness in Zara's tone, but she doesn't back away. I need to apologize. To both of you. I had no idea Madison was behaving this way. None. Lily looks away, her shoulders tensing. She can't even look at this woman, the mother of her tormentor. I'm not making excuses, Christine continues, her voice thick with emotion. I failed as a parent. I gave her everything materially but clearly nothing that mattered. Seeing that video, hearing what she said to you, I'm horrified. Zara's eyes narrow. She's not buying it. Not yet. Where is this coming from? Because if you're trying to protect your daughter from consequences? No. Christine's voice is sharp, almost desperate. I want her to face consequences. She needs to. I've been so focused on my charity work, my social calendar, that I missed what was happening under my own roof. My daughter became a bully, and I didn't even notice. There's something raw in her confession. Something that sounds like a mother realizing she failed at the one job that actually mattered. Christine pulls out her phone, her hands shaking slightly as she scrolls through a long text exchange. She holds it out for Zara to see. Multiple complaints over 2 years that were handled internally. Look at the dates. Look at how many times other parents, other students tried to report her behavior. Zara takes the phone, reading. Lily leans over, reading too. The messages tell a damning story, a pattern of cruelty that was systematically ignored, swept under the rug, dismissed as teenage drama, or high school social dynamics. The school swept it under the rug because we're donors, Christine says, her voice bitter with self-recrimination. I'm going to change that. I'm meeting with the principal tomorrow. Madison will apologize publicly, and if necessary, she'll transfer schools. Lily finally looks up at her, confusion and disbelief warring on her face. Why are you telling us this? Christine's eyes are wet now, tears threatening to spill over. Because you deserve to know someone heard you. Someone believes you. And someone is going to make sure this never happens to another student. She reaches into her bag, pulling out a business card. Not the standard one with her foundation's name embossed in gold. A personal card, simple and understated. She hands it to Zara. This is my personal number. If Madison retaliates in any way, you call me directly. I mean that. Zara studies her for a long moment, searching for manipulation, for performance, for anything false. But all she sees is genuine remorse. The kind that comes from looking in the mirror and not recognizing the reflection. Thank you. No, thank you. Christine's voice breaks slightly. You protected your sister. I didn't protect mine from becoming that. The word hangs there. That. As if Madison has become something Christine can barely recognize as her daughter. Christine returns to her seat, leaving Zara and Lily alone again with the weight of this unexpected apology. Lily is the first to speak, her voice barely above a whisper. Do you believe her? Zara considers the question carefully, turning Christine's business card over in her fingers. I think she's ashamed. Whether that translates to action, we'll see. But we're not depending on her. We're depending on us. And that right there, that's the lesson. That's what matters. Not the apologies of guilty parents or the promises of administrators. The certainty that they have each other. That they'll fight together. That Lily is no longer alone in this battle. Lily nods slowly, something settling in her expression. Not quite peace, but something close. Understanding maybe. Or acceptance. The knowledge that things might actually change. Before we continue with what happens next, here's my question for you. Have you ever had someone apologize for something they did to you years later? Did it change anything? Let me know in the comments. And if you're invested in seeing how this story ends, hit that subscribe button now because trust me, the landing scene is going to blow your mind. Outside the window, clouds drift past like witnesses to this moment of reckoning. Madison sits somewhere in the back of the plane, probably seething, probably already plotting her revenge or her excuse. Christine sits in her first-class seat, probably questioning every parenting decision she's ever made. Blake sits beside his mother, probably wondering how his sister became someone he doesn't recognize. But here, in row 4, seats A and B, Zara and Lily sit hand in hand. Exhausted. Emotionally drained. But together. And for the first time in a very long time, Lily feels something she almost forgot existed. The plane flies on through clear blue sky, carrying all of them toward whatever comes next. Toward consequences and confrontations and uncomfortable conversations. Toward accountability and change and the messy, complicated work of making things right. But most importantly, it carries two sisters who just proved that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stand up and say, enough. And mean it. The plane touches down in Los Angeles with that familiar jolt and rumble, wheels meeting tarmac after hours suspended in the sky. The seatbelt sign dings off, and immediately the cabin fills with that chaotic energy of people desperate to deplane. Overhead bins clicking open, bags being wrestled down, the shuffle of bodies moving toward freedom. Madison is one of the first to stand. Of course she is. Despite everything that's happened, despite the humiliation of being banished to the back of the plane, she still carries that entitled urgency. That need to be first, to be ahead, to never wait for anyone. She tries to rush past Zara and Lily's row, head down, designer bag clutched to her chest like armor. But Zara steps into the aisle, blocking her path. One more thing. Madison stops, her entire body going rigid. When she looks up, her face is a mixture of exhaustion and defiance. What? You're going to delete that video. And you're going to post an apology. For a second, just a flicker of a second, you can see Madison consider refusing. The old Madison, the one who walked into this flight believing she was untouchable, would have laughed in Zara's face. But this Madison, the one who spent the last hour sitting in the back of the plane, replaying her mother's horrified expression, feeling the weight of hundreds of judgmental stares, this Madison hesitates. You can't make me. You're right. Zara's voice is calm, almost conversational. I can't. But I can make sure every college you apply to knows about your behavior. I can make sure that video reaches every admissions office, every scholarship committee. Your family's money can buy a lot, but it can't buy back your reputation. The threat lands like a physical blow. You can see it in the way Madison's face pales, in the way her breath catches. Because Zara isn't making empty threats. She has the resources, the connections, the reach to do exactly what she's promising. And Madison, for maybe the first time in her privileged life, understands that she's completely outmatched. Her hand trembles as she reaches for her phone. The trembling isn't just fear. It's humiliation, rage, the physical manifestation of her world crumbling. She pulls up the video, the one she posted with such casual cruelty, the one that's been tormenting Lily for weeks. Her finger hovers over the delete button. She presses it. Gone. Just like that. Months of harassment, thousands of views, countless cruel comments. Erased in a single tap. Madison's face is burning, bright red against her designer clothes. Happy? No. Zara's response is immediate, unflinching. Because you don't understand what you did. You broke my sister. And the only reason I'm not destroying you right now is because she deserves peace, not revenge. There's something terrifying about Zara's composure. About how controlled she remains even now, even with every reason to unleash years of protective fury. It's the control of someone who knows exactly how much power they wield and chooses, deliberately, not to use all of it. Zara leans closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carries more menace than any shout could. But if you ever come near her again, if you ever even look at her wrong, I will use every resource I have to make sure you understand what it feels like to be powerless. Do we understand each other? Madison nods, and now there are actual tears in her eyes. Not tears of remorse or understanding, tears of someone who's finally encountered a consequence they can't buy, charm, or bully their way out of. But now get out of my sight. Madison practically runs off the plane, stumbling slightly in her expensive heels, leaving behind the wreckage of her carefully constructed image of superiority. Other passengers who've been pretending not to listen, who've been frozen in their seats watching this final confrontation, now move. Some catch Zara's eye with approving nods. Others avoid looking at all, uncomfortable with having witnessed something so raw. Zara and Lily gather their things and walk through the terminal, the artificial brightness of LAX washing over them. The contrast is almost jarring, from the intimate, pressure-cooked atmosphere of the plane to this vast, impersonal space where thousands of strangers rush past on their own urgent journeys. Lily is quiet for a long moment, processing everything. Then, suddenly, she says it, "That was the most badass thing I've ever seen." Zara actually laughs, the tension finally breaking. Language. Seriously. Lily's eyes are bright now, animated in a way they haven't been this entire trip. You were like a superhero. I was just being your big sister. But Lily shakes her head, stopping in the middle of the corridor, forcing Zara to stop too. No one's ever stood up for me like that. Ever. And there it is again, that heartbreaking admission. That Lily has been fighting this battle alone for so long that having someone in her corner feels miraculous. Revolutionary. Zara turns to face her fully, both hands on Lily's shoulders. That changes now. From now on, you tell me when something's wrong. No matter how busy I am, no matter what I'm doing, you come first. Always. You promise? I promise. And I'm going to be around more. I've been so caught up in building this empire that I forgot what I was building it for. Lily tilts her head, curious. What's that? Family. So we'd never have to feel small again. So you could walk into any room and know you belong. But money doesn't do that. Confidence does. And I'm going to help you find yours. They hug right there in the middle of the terminal, travelers streaming around them like water around a stone. It's one of those moments that feels both intensely private and somehow universal. The kind of embrace that anyone who's ever felt protected, truly protected, by someone they love can recognize instantly. When they finally pull apart, Lily asks the question that's probably been building since they left the plane. What do we do now? Zara smiles, and it's different from her business smile, her public smile, her I'm a successful entrepreneur smile. This is just genuine. Now, we go to the hotel, order room service, watch terrible movies, and remember what it's like to just be sisters. And tomorrow we figure out the rest. It sounds simple, almost anticlimactic after everything that's happened. But that's exactly what makes it perfect. After hours of confrontation and tears and public reckonings, what Lily needs isn't another dramatic moment. She needs normalcy. She needs to remember that life can be easy and light and uncomplicated. As they walk toward baggage claim, weaving through the crowds, Lily's phone buzzes. Then buzzes again. And again. The rapid-fire notifications of a phone that's been offline and is suddenly catching up with the world. She pulls it out, curious. Her eyes widen as she reads the screen. A text from a classmate. OMG, is that your sister with you on the plane? Madison's video is gone and someone posted about what happened. Everyone's on your side now. Another text pops up before she can even process the first one. Madison's crying in the group chat. What happened? Another, you're a legend. The messages keep coming, a flood of support from people who, just hours ago, had either participated in her harassment or stood by silently while it happened. The fickle nature of high school social dynamics, captured in real-time text messages. Lily shows Zara the screen, her expression uncertain. Like she doesn't quite know how to feel about this sudden reversal. How do you feel? Zara asks. Lily considers the question, really thinks about it. Scared. But also, free? Is that weird? Not at all. Before I tell you what happens next, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment where standing up for yourself or someone else completely changed the dynamic of a situation? Tell me about it in the comments. And if you want to see where Lily and Zara's story goes from here, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because you won't want to miss the ending. Because here's the thing about moments like these, about confrontations that go viral, about bullies getting called out publicly, they change everything and nothing all at once. The power dynamic shifts. The social hierarchy reorganizes. People who were silent suddenly find their voices in support. But the trauma doesn't just evaporate. The fear doesn't disappear overnight. And the work of healing, real healing, is just beginning. Lily is scared because she knows Madison isn't gone. She's just temporarily defeated. Scared because even with all these supportive texts, she has to go back to school, walk those same hallways, face those same people who watched her suffer for months without intervening. But she also feels free. Free because someone finally saw her. Finally believed her. Finally stood up and said, this is not okay. Free because the video that haunted her, that played on loop in her nightmares, that represented everything she hated about herself, it's gone. They collect their bags from the carousel, Zara's matching designer luggage appearing alongside Lily's worn backpack. The contrast is stark but somehow doesn't matter anymore. They're just sisters now, waiting for their bags like everyone else, planning a night of room service and bad movies. As they walk toward the exit, pulling their luggage behind them, Lily's phone buzzes one more time. She glances at it, then shows Zara without a word. It's from Christine. Just 2 lines. Madison will not be returning to your school. I've enrolled her in a program that specializes in behavioral correction. I'm sorry for everything. Zara reads it, nods slowly. She actually did it. Do you think Madison will change? Lily asks. Zara considers this as they push through the automatic doors into the California sunshine. I don't know. Some people learn from consequences. Others just learn to hide better. But either way, she's not your problem anymore. They stand there for a moment, letting the warmth soak in after hours of recycled airplane air. The chaos of LAX swirls around them, cars honking, people shouting for taxis, the constant motion of arrivals and departures. You know what the best part of all this is? Lily says suddenly. What's that? I don't have to pretend anymore. I don't have to act like everything's fine when it's not. I don't have to be small to make other people comfortable. Zara smiles, pulling her sister close as they wait for their ride. No, you don't. Not ever again. And in that moment, standing outside LAX with the California sun beating down and the promise of room service and sisterhood ahead of them, Lily realizes something profound. The confrontation on the plane wasn't just about stopping Madison. It wasn't just about deleting a video or forcing an apology. It was about reclaiming her voice, her dignity, her right to exist without apologizing for taking up space. That's the real victory. Not Madison's tears or Christine's promises or the supportive texts flooding her phone. The victory is Lily, standing taller now, breathing easier, looking at the world with eyes that no longer expect cruelty at every turn. The battle isn't over. There will be hard days ahead, moments of doubt, echoes of trauma that surface when she least expects them. But now she knows something she didn't know when she boarded that plane in New York. She knows she doesn't have to fight alone. And sometimes, that knowledge, that certainty that someone has your back, will go to war for you, will use every resource at their disposal to protect you, that's more powerful than any revenge, any apology, any public reckoning could ever be. Their car pulls up, and as they load their bags and slide into the back seat, Lily takes one last look at the airport behind them. Somewhere in there, Madison is probably still processing what happened, still reeling from the complete dismantling of her carefully constructed superiority. But Lily isn't thinking about Madison anymore. She's thinking about tomorrow. About the future. About all the possibilities that open up when you're no longer spending every ounce of energy just trying to survive. The car pulls away from the curb, carrying them toward whatever comes next. But for the first time in a very long time, Lily isn't afraid of what that might be. She's ready. 3 months pass like turning pages in a book you can't put down. 3 months of healing, of rebuilding, of learning what it means to feel safe again. We're back in Atlanta now, at Lily's school. But this isn't the same school Lily left behind when she boarded that flight to Los Angeles. Or maybe it is the same school, but everything feels different now. The hallways look the same, the lockers still line the walls, the fluorescent lights still flicker in that annoying way institutional lights do. But there's something in the air that's changed. Something fundamental. Zara walks through those halls now, not as a desperate sister searching for answers, but as a board of trustees member with the power to implement real change. She's dressed in one of her signature power suits, her heels clicking purposefully against the polished floor as she makes her way to the conference room where the board is gathering. The meeting is already in session when the real business begins. On the agenda, printed in neat administrative font, is something that would have seemed impossible just 3 months ago. New comprehensive anti-bullying policies funded by a $2 million grant from Baptiste Beauty. $2 million. Let that sink in for a moment. Zara Baptiste didn't just complain about the system. She didn't just threaten legal action or pull her non-existent child from the school. She wrote a check that would fundamentally restructure how this institution handles student welfare. The principal stands at the head of the table, presenting the changes with a mixture of pride and what looks distinctly like shame. Because these policies, mandatory training for staff, anonymous reporting systems, counselor expansion, and scholarships protected from donor influence, should have existed years ago. Should have been implemented the first time a student cried for help and was dismissed because the bully's parents wrote generous checks. The principal explicitly mentions the incident that prompted this comprehensive review, carefully avoiding names, but everyone in that room knows exactly which incident sparked this revolution. Everyone knows about the viral plane confrontation, about Madison Hartford, about Lily Baptiste's tears broadcast for the world to see. After the meeting, as trustees gather their papers and exchange pleasantries, the principal approaches Zara. His expression is earnest, almost pleading. "Thank you for pushing this. We should have done it years ago." Zara's response is measured, but there's steel underneath the professionalism. "My sister shouldn't have had to suffer for you to care." The principal flinches, but to his credit, he doesn't make excuses. "You're right. We failed her. We won't fail the next student." It's not enough. It will never be enough to erase what Lily went through. But it's something. It's a start. It's a commitment that maybe, just maybe, the next Lily Baptiste who walks through these halls won't have to board a plane and face her bully at 30,000 feet before anyone takes her seriously. Zara exits the building into Atlanta's afternoon sunshine, and there, waiting by the front steps with her debate team, is Lily. But this isn't the Lily from 3 months ago. This isn't the girl who hunched her shoulders and avoided eye contact, who dressed to disappear, who apologized for existing. This Lily stands tall, team captain now, laughing with friends in that easy, unself-conscious way that only comes when you finally feel safe being yourself. When she spots Zara, her entire face transforms. "You came. I promised, didn't I?" They walk to the car together, Lily chattering about the debate tournament coming up, about the argument she's crafting, about how her team has a real shot at regionals this year. It's the most Zara's heard her talkin', well, maybe ever. Certainly in years. As they settle into the car, Lily goes quiet for a moment, that contemplative look crossing her face that Zara's learned means something important is coming. Madison transferred schools. Did you know? Zara did know. She's made it her business to know. Heard. How do you feel about that? Lily stares out the window, watching Atlanta slide past. Honestly? Relieved. But also, I kind of feel bad for her. This surprises Zara. After everything Madison put her through, after the videos and the humiliation and the suicidal thoughts, Lily feels bad for her? Why? Because I have you. I have mom and dad. I have people who love me. She just has money. That's got to be lonely. And there it is. The thing that separates people who've been broken and rebuilt from people who've never been tested. Compassion. Empathy. The ability to recognize that cruelty often comes from emptiness, that bullies are usually fighting battles no one sees. Zara smiles, reaching over to squeeze her sister's hand. "You're going to be an incredible woman, Lily Baptiste. I'm learning from the best." 6 months later, and we're in a completely different setting. A Baptiste beauty event, glittering and sophisticated, held in one of Atlanta's most prestigious venues. The room is filled with influencers, executives, philanthropists, and journalists. Everyone who's anyone in the beauty and business world has shown up. But this isn't just another product launch or brand partnership announcement. This is something bigger. Zara takes the stage, commanding the room with that effortless presence she's cultivated over years of building an empire. Tonight, I'm proud to announce the launch of the Lily Fund, a scholarship and support initiative for students facing bullying and discrimination. The applause is immediate, but Zara raises her hand, not finished yet. "But I'm not the one who's going to tell you about it. My sister is." The spotlight shifts as Lily walks onto the stage. She's wearing a dress Zara picked out for her, but she's wearing it with confidence that's entirely her own. Her hair is styled differently now, not hiding her face but framing it. She looks like what she is, a young woman who's survived something terrible and chosen to transform it into something meaningful. If you're watching this and you've ever struggled with finding your voice after someone tried to silence you, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what happens next is going to give you chills. Lily takes the microphone, and for just a second, you can see her hands shake. But when she speaks, her voice is steady. 6 months ago, I wanted to disappear. I felt worthless, alone, like I didn't deserve to take up space. But my sister taught me something. Your value isn't determined by people who don't see it. It's determined by you. The audience applauds, but Lily isn't finished. She's just getting started. If you're being bullied, if you feel alone, please know, you are not small. You are not less than. You are not invisible. And there are people who will fight for you. I found mine. You'll find yours. From the side of the stage, Zara watches, tears streaming down her face without shame. This is why she built her empire. This moment right here. Not the magazine covers or the Forbes lists or the private planes. Her little sister, speaking truth to hundreds of people, transforming pain into purpose. The applause when Lily finishes is thunderous. People are standing, some are crying, and you can feel the energy in the room shift. This isn't just another charity announcement. This is a movement beginning. After the event, after the photos and the interviews and the congratulations, Zara and Lily escape to the roof of Zara's office building. It's become their spot over these past 6 months. A place where they can just be sisters, away from the cameras and the expectations and the weight of their public roles. They sit side by side, legs dangling over the edge of the rooftop garden, looking out at Atlanta's skyline. The city sparkles below them, thousands of lights representing thousands of lives, thousands of stories. Do you think Madison ever thinks about what happened? Lily asks quietly. Zara considers this. Maybe. But that's not our concern anymore. We told our story. We made change. We moved forward. I'm glad you were on that plane. Zara laughs, the sound warm in the cool night air. Me too. Although next time, let's take one of my planes. Much less drama. They both laugh at that, the kind of laughter that comes from shared trauma transformed into shared strength. Hey Zara. Yeah. Thank you for not giving up on me. Even when I gave up on myself. Zara pulls her sister close, the way she's done 1,000 times over these past 6 months, the way she'll do 1,000 more times in the years to come. Never. Not once. Not ever. They sit there as the city glows below them, two silhouettes against the vast sky. Two sisters who boarded a plane separately and landed together. Two women, one who built an empire, one who's just beginning to discover her power, unbreakable in their bond. The screen fades to text, white letters on black. The Lily Fund has provided over 500 scholarships to students facing discrimination and bullying. Zara Baptiste is now a youth advocate and public speaker. Zara and Lily host an annual summit on youth empowerment. 500 students. 500 Lilies who might have given up, who might have believed the cruelty, who might have disappeared into their pain. 500 futures changed because one sister refused to let another suffer alone. The final shot brings us full circle. An airport terminal, bright and bustling. Zara and Lily walking side by side, pulling matching luggage now. They're heading to first class, but it's different this time. Lily isn't hunched over, isn't trying to be invisible. She's laughing at something Zara said, her head thrown back, completely unself-conscious. Completely free. They board the plane together, and as they settle into their seats, side by side, always, Lily pulls out her laptop. She's working on a speech for the next Youth Empowerment Summit. Zara glances over, reading a few lines, then smiles and goes back to her own work. Just two sisters. Flying first class. Living their truth. Changing the world one confrontation, one scholarship, one brave story at a time. The plane's engines roar to life, and as they taxi toward the runway, you realize something profound. That confrontation 3 months ago wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. The beginning of Lily finding her voice. The beginning of real change at her school. The beginning of 500 scholarships and counting. Sometimes the worst moments of our lives, the moments when we're cornered, humiliated, forced to confront our demons at 30,000 feet, those moments become the catalyst for everything that comes after. Lily doesn't disappear anymore. She speaks. She advocates. She shows up for other kids who feel invisible and tells them, I see you. You matter. Your pain is real, and so is your power. And Zara doesn't just build beauty empires anymore. She builds safety nets, support systems, paths forward for kids like her and Lily, kids who started with nothing but refused to let that nothing define them. The plane lifts off, climbing into clear blue sky, carrying them toward whatever comes next. But unlike that first flight, they're not running from anything now. They're running toward everything. Toward purpose. Toward impact. Toward a future where maybe, just maybe, fewer kids have to suffer the way Lily suffered. Here's my question for you. If you could create a fund or initiative to help people in any way, what would it be? Let me know in the comments. And if this story moved you, if it reminded you that standing up matters, that protecting the vulnerable matters, that speaking truth to power matters, share it. Because somewhere out there, there's another Lily who needs to hear this message. The screen fades to black, but the story doesn't end. It continues in every student who receives a Lily Fund scholarship. It continues in every school that implements real anti-bullying policies. It continues in every person who watches this and decides that enough is enough, that they won't stay silent anymore, that they'll stand up even when their voice shakes. That's the legacy of One Plane Ride. One confrontation. One sister refusing to let another sister suffer alone. And that legacy? It's just beginning. If this story hit you in the chest, don't just feel it, act on it. Smash that like button right now. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because we're building an army of people who refuse to stay silent. And here's what I need from you. Drop a comment. Let's flood this section with people who are done being bystanders. Let's show every Lily out there that they're not alone. If you know someone being bullied, be their Zara. If you're being bullied, you are not invisible. You are not worthless. You matter. Subscribe, comment. This isn't just a video. It's a movement. Are you in?